I'm currently at a local McDonald's here in Orange, California. The fast food chain is currently under fire for an E. coli outbreak that started within the onions of their quarter pounder.
California has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, and now they're getting even tougher. Here in the U.S., the Gun Violence Archive defines a mass shooting as an incident where 4 or more people are injured or killed. The group reports there have been over 380 mass shootings so far this year. California Governor Gavin Newsom recently signed new measures that further restrict access to firearms, increase protection for domestic violence survivors, and prohibit vendors from selling guns meant to be destroyed in the effort to cut down on homemade firearms. Thank you very much, Caroline and Rosemary. Like you said, North Carolina going red to Donald Trump. Now, even though this state has gone red the past few elections, Democrats really thought this is something they could have flipped, especially with that governor race in Josh Stein and Mark Robinson. You could see Stein, an overwhelming victory, almost 16 points over the Republican candidate Mark Robinson. And now another weather pattern that we are starting to track is La Nina, which is expected to once again impact our weather here on the West Coast. Now, La Nina is the opposite of El Nino, which we're more used to wetter, stormier conditions here in Southern California. But this is now going to be pushed up north to Northern California, to the Pacific Northwest in that territory, leaving them with that stormy weather, and it's going to leave a lot more dry conditions here in Southern California. And then finally, we're going to take a look at our 5-day Fenestra forecast, and you can see it's going to be sunny throughout the week until you get to Saturday. You're going to see a little cloud coverage, but it's going to get really cold at night. And I'm going to throw some songs at you. We got Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood and Shivers by Ed Sheeran. Get those in your playlist, because that's what we're going to see. It's going to get cold at night. Make sure you're prepared for those cold temperatures. But that's all for me on my last day in front of camera this semester. I'm Stephen Hogencamp. We'll see you next time. Stay warm out there, everyone.
A SoCal teen is back home after competing in the Paralympics in Paris. Chapman News reporter Stephen Hogencamp had the opportunity to talk with her about her historic performance.
10 years of age, and that is out over the 12-meter mark as well.
Arel Middleton is back training in Rancho Cucamonga, California. It's a work ethic like this that helped the 16-year-old high school student earn a silver medal in shot put this past summer in the Paris Paralympics.
It was definitely nerve-wracking, I would say, just because, of course you want to come home with a medal. Honestly, I was still just kind of trying to process everything, still being out in front of all those people.
Middleton says growing up, her family, especially her mom, encouraged her to be active in sports, not just shot put.
I started at the Angel City Games, which is like this adaptive sports event for kids with disabilities. I tried wheelchair basketball, which I still do, and then of course track, and that kind of is what started me with sports. My mom was really helpful. She definitely pushes me to do my best. She's like perfect amount of toughness on me.
Middleton was born with congenital femoral deficiency. Her left leg was 6 inches shorter than her right, and her left hip was underdeveloped. As a result, she has had several surgeries, but Middleton has never let anything stop her. She believes it doesn't matter what cards you're dealt, you can do anything you set your mind to.
I've become a stronger person with all the surgeries, and certain people, people definitely have a certain opinion of you if you do have a disability. So I feel like having this disability, it made me a strong person. I'm good with helping people, I feel like, just because I know what people go through a lot. Don't let people tell you can't do something just because you have an obstacle in your way. You can honestly do anything, really. And if you really want something, you can always work for it.
Last week, Donald Trump became the president-elect of the United States. Our Stephen Hogencamp had the opportunity to sit down with college-age voters and talk about their reaction after this consequential election.
Thank you very much. Wow.
This was one of the most hotly contested elections in our history, and was predicted to be one of the closest elections since 2000. Because of this, voters had many different reasons for why they showed up and spoke their minds.
Identity politics and wokeism, to me, that has infiltrated like many different sectors of society.
Definitely for me, reproductive rights, that was a big one. Like queer rights, as I'm part of the community, so that's definitely a big concern for me.
A lot of people say that their vote doesn't matter. I believe it truly does, not just for the president, but for the other choices that are there on the ballot.
For the first time in his 3 campaigns, Donald Trump won the popular vote, despite a thunderous start and massive donations for the Harris campaign. Voters were asked where she may have gone wrong.
She wasn't authentic. That was the problem. Everything that she said to me, like, it sounded rehearsed. It didn't feel natural. It just sounded like someone just made her, like she had this whole team of people that just made her memorize things and just talk it out.
The two main groups that I think got a lot of, or voted a lot heavily for Trump, were the Latino voters, which came as a surprise to a lot of people, and younger white men in particular.
In a time where our political climate is as polarizing as it has ever been, I asked these young voters if there is a future where both politicians and people can come together on important issues.
I want to say yes. I mean, I feel like that's always the goal. I mean, why would we all want to be in a country that's not united? We're the United States. As corny as it sounds, that's how we should be.
So I do see and have hope that we will go back to kind of a more centrist or at least less polarized front.
I feel like this election is really going to make people realize the similarities between the two parties and that the two-party system isn't really working anymore.
As there are just 69 days until Donald Trump begins his second presidency, these 4 voters, regardless of their political leanings, are hoping the country can find some common ground to build on. I'm Stephen Hogencamp, reporting for Chapman News.